Hey, what's up? This is Tony,
And this is Rico.
and this is Relatively Sound, the podcast that tastes like jelly beans. So today, I see that look. You're in for a trip, man. Today, I get the pleasure of showing Rico Scott Weiland's 1998 debut solo album release, 12 Bar Blues, an album that I love. I hate the title of it, but I love the album. I just happened to click with it at the time of my life when I listened to it, which was I think like freshman year in high school. Um, and to be completely honest, I don't think Rico's gonna like it, but what can you do about it?
And do you want to maybe explain why we're doing this album so close to if people listen to our episodes in order, they might have noticed last week's episode was actually an album for album episode where we focused on a other STP side band related album.
Yes, Talk Show was my choice, and Rico's choice was Trouble at the Hen House. I got the title right, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Um, so we kind of, in our own way, think of the Tragically Hip and Stone Temple Pilots as a good mashup. Respectively, each other's favorite bands. And we're kind of liking. We're getting each other on board for this. So this matchup here is going to be the singer of STP versus Gore Downey from the Tragically Hip. But I get to go first, which is maybe not a good thing. But
We might need to do the episodes back to back so I can have a palate cleanser.
yes. Yeah, I mean, we can just get pretty much into it. I think the only other thing I really want to say is that the album cover, right here, is actually supposed to be similar to John Coltrane, one of his albums. I think it's called Blue Train, where it's like the same color
Yeah,
design.
I've definitely seen that one before.
And I will say this, although you may be scratching your head at some of these songs, I think this is arguably the catchiest album I've ever heard. I think every song has something catchy about it.
Well, knowing
Like,
what I think you think catchy is, I'm a little afraid.
you should be. You should be. Maybe that's a good thing.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go into it with open mindset. I mean, I've liked the two
I feel like you're capping.
I don't know. We only done no. We've done two STP albums, and I enjoyed both, and I actually really enjoyed Talk Show, the album we did last week. So I mean, I'm going into it knowing that I'm not hearing, the bass lines from STP or the slide guitar bits or the solos, So, and I already know what the Gord Downie solo album sounds like in relation to hip albums, and I know it's vastly different. And that's kind of what I'm expecting here. It'll just be, do I like it enough on its own other than like Scott's vocals and lyrics? Because the same thing could be said about Gord or any artist whose lead singer goes solo. It's like, are their vocal chops and their musicality and
Lyricism,
lyricism,
delivery.
is it as good, and do they get enough other talented musicians around them to make up for the music, from
Right.
what might be lacking from their original band? So
Yeah, and I did want to say there was one more thing I wanted to say. Why am I slipping on it? Yeah, I mean, oh yeah. So I looked up on Wikipedia because I wanted to see what they called the genre of the album, and I was expecting to see a variety, but all they had listed was alternative rock and neo psychedelia.
well, I think Wikipedia for smaller albums,
Right,
they
right.
don't have as much. Like, I don't even know if the Gord one has anything other than like maybe rock. I don't know, but
Yeah, but well, yeah, we'll have to see what you think if you think that fits the bill. Well, I don't really know what neo psychedelia sounds like off the top of my head.
well,
I've
I
really
mean, you
thought too
must.
hard
You've heard
about
this
it.
album many times.
But I haven't heard another album that sounds like this. So,
Well, all right,
hey, you want to get into it?
yeah, if you are listening to this on a audio only
All
platform,
right.
go check out our YouTube channel, Relatively Sound Podcast, and you'll be able to see a edited version of my reaction and Tony's reaction to this album. So hop on over to that, and let's go give the album a listen.
First track on the album, Desperation number 5, and I will say it right here, one of my personal favorites from the record. I don't think that's much of a giveaway. So,
Oh god, this is gonna be a long hour. I do not feel bad about my album choice now. Because this is some mighty compression here on those guitars.
Dude, I thought this album was gonna be listed as industrial.
I think I liked the vocal melody if it wasn't buried in those guitars. Okay, this bit's a little bit more enjoyable now that it's a little bit more fleshed out. I do not like his vocals here, though. I don't mind the direction of the song, but I don't like the patch, whatever they did for the keyboard sound. Assuming that's a keyboard. And I was also not expecting this up-tempo song with the drums. I was expecting kind of a slow opener, actually.
They're doing it. Your favorite thing. Filters on the vocals.
But I mean, those vocals already I didn't like, so it's not making them any worse, really. I'm trying to figure out why you like the song.
It's so damn catchy. And this chorus is epic with the riff.
The best part of the chorus is the dual vocals. And I like the O that the one does at the beginning of the chorus. The good news is that I don't think this will be my favorite on the album, meaning that I think we can go up from here. Well,
he's a new man.
I can't say that was a love on first listen. Yeah, I mean, it's not my style. I appreciate it for what it was attempting to do, but I didn't like the vocals in the verse. I didn't like how kind of quiet and high. I don't think it was in a good range for what I consider his sweet spot, or at least for my personal taste.
Really?
I was a little taken back by actually how upbeat the song was, even in the verse, which is not a bad thing. Because again, for some reason, with maybe the album title and the cover and the title of the song, I expected a Mark Lanegan, that first song off of Bubblegum.
Okay.
And maybe not as dark, because it's not like Scott's or STP songs normally sound like a Mark Lanegan song, but
yeah. I mean, I could never imagine. Not that, I mean, Mark Lanegan's creative, but his music isn't the most colorful. Where I feel like STP is really imaginative with what they do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like the contrast of the chorus and the verse, but I didn't like the actual sound of the chorus and the guitars. The best thing to me was the vocals in the chorus, because they were just much more livelier than the vocals in the verse. So I appreciated that. The song is so weird that I don't know yet if I disliked a lot of it because of the production or not. That'll have to kind of wait for another song or two, because I don't know if this song is very indicative of the album or not, and I don't want you to tell me. But
yeah.
We'll have to see. I mean, it felt relatively short, which it didn't feel long, which is good.
That's good.
Lyrically,
simple structure though, but
yeah. Lyrically, nothing other than the line about the Christmas tree. I do like when artists will write a song that's not about Christmas, but will throw in a lyric about Christmas. Like I said, I think for an album opener, it makes a statement, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the song as an album opener, but that's as much as I can really appreciate the song itself. I do not find it catchy like you do.
Okay, I think it's a catchy ass song, but I understand why you don't like it. I don't expect you to love this one, but I am gonna ask: is this song annoying? If you had to describe one word of why you didn't like it, would you say it's annoying, or it's boring, or it's abrasive?
No, definitely not boring. Abrasive is probably a little bit more on track. Annoying. Parts of it were annoying. Parts of it were abrasive. I guess maybe if I had to do one word, I would say
I mean, that's a good enough description for me.
I would say weird.
All right, yeah, that's a good enough word for now, honestly. All right, track number 2 for the album is Barbarella. Now,
okay, if I am gonna recognize the song, it's definitely gonna be the chorus, because I do not remember this operatic intro. Yeah, this is sounding familiar, the vocal melody. And see, because parts of the song already sounds kind of out there, you have the acoustic guitar and a melody that's so much easier to cling to. I'm already liking this more than the opener. Yeah, I probably could have sung that line with him with the melody because I remember it.
Nice.
But I will say, I'm not digging his vocals during the chorus.
Okay. Maybe it'll come around later. Maybe.
Like the tone, not the melody, like the tone.
Right. They
sound good here, though, in the verse. And so far, the electronic bleeps and bloops is working better than on the Desperation number 5. I like the kind of tremolo-y, picked out guitar riff. I'm always iffy on na-na-nas, but I'll let it slide. Okay, not that I don't dislike this part, but it feels like a completely different. I mean, like key change, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. They could have got rid of this section.
Wow. Okay, I kind of like that. It's just his vocals. I get that him adding like the kind of gravel nature to his tone for the chorus. I get what the purpose of it is, but I actually don't love it. I will say, so far between the two songs, in the background, it's a lot of throwing stuff at the wall to see what's sticking.
Thumbs up?
Well, I'll say this. For the songwriting wise, yes, thumbs up. But we're only 2 songs in, so it can change. But production wise, thumbs down.
Damn.
I remember in the first song I said I wasn't quite sold on the production. This album gives me very much like, hey, this is a singer-songwriter who's been in a rock band. And whether it was a rock band, I mean, obviously Stone Temple Pilots is 90s, but even bands who were out making music in the 70s and 80s, once you get to the 2000s or near the 2000s, there's always, I feel like, a change. Whether it's REM, whether it's Pearl Jam. And obviously, like, the change, I think, with SCP was Tiny Music, right? But this is like an even more of a change. And I don't know, like, if it was his decisions or if the producers or any of the other musicians Scott was working with to include, like, that intro section with the strings, which is like, well, that's different. And then not really include them in the rest of the song. I mean, maybe there were some strings in the chorus, but not in that capacity. And then to have like piano sprinkled out throughout the song, those bleeps and bloops of like synths, like some of that stuff to me worked, some of it didn't. I will say there were some of these Stark production choices are cool, like when he goes extremely a cappella, and like you said, a very dry vocal. That's cool. And like the songwriting itself, like the chords, I like the melody. I think the melody was so much catchier than the first song. And I mean, I like the lyrics. They kind of read to me as like a classic Scott song. And like I said, I do remember you covering the song before and playing it, especially the chorus. So I would say like thumbs up on lyrics and like the main progression and vocal melodies and some of the production choice, and a thumbs down on other production choices.
Song 3, About Nothing, which is what Rico thinks his album's about.
Not true yet. You're right, this is very industrial so far, this whole album.
Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't listed as like the main genre.
Okay, I'm not loving the vocals again. Okay, this production is very outdated now. This sounds like that middle section of Barbarella that didn't sound like it fit. This sounds completely different than the rest of the song.
But this is such a catchy hook.
This part is better than the verse, I'll give you that. I don't like that. The,
like that little
alien
squeak.
Abduction noise. I do not like that.
Bro.
And again, here, his vocals here I don't love. Thin and a little whiny for him.
They're crunchy.
I like the chord progression a lot during this section.
Yeah, like this part bangs out, bro.
Why does that sound like Saul? Better Call Saul.
Very Americana Western sort of thing.
The pre-chorus is definitely my least favorite part. Best part about this is the interplay of the guitar and the piano.
But let me just clarify. This is maybe my least favorite from the album.
Okay, well...
Don't think I'm praising the hell out of this song.
Yeah, that so far is my least favorite. I mean, if I'm being honest, I kind of already said as much as I feel like I can say for that song. It's I don't like the verse. I don't like the high, quiet, kind of hard to hear vocal. Like, I would almost have known some of the lyrics if not for having them in front of my face.
I think that
Thought the pre-chorus was very obnoxious with that keyboard sound, that really high-pitched one. And then like the most like disappointing thing about the song was that it had actually a really catchy and nice chorus, and I liked the piano and the guitar work. And had that been had that chorus been used in a better song, I probably would not have complained about the vocals. It's almost kind of like Barbarella, where I probably shouldn't have complained about the vocals as much in the chorus. I know some people online will go like, "It's not a big deal," blah blah blah, and they're right. It's not.
well, I
It's
mean,
just
but you did
it's a
say
personal taste thing.
you did.
I mean, the only part of that song that'll grow on me probably is the chorus, which I already kind of decently like. So I could like that part even more. It'll just be a song where the rest of it I don't care for. But right now, I mean, 3 songs in, I'm only having one song that has a replay value, if I'm being honest.
Track number 4, Where's the Man? I had an OMG moment. I was in the theaters seeing the new Beetlejuice. I'm not a diehard Beetlejuice fan. I had never really seen it until that same day I watched the original and then saw it in theaters. But they use Where's the Man in one of the scenes. And I was like, holy fuck. I've never once got to like publicly, freak out about hearing a Scott Weiland song.
More strings. But why this one sounds like fake strings as opposed to the beginning of Barbarella.
Right.
So far, the most normal sounding song on the album. See, these vocals here are nice, and the vocals here remind me of how I think your voice sounds like sometimes when you sing in your
Okay.
higher register.
I'll take that as a compliment.
This is what I was expecting more from this album. I will say, had the song been on a more normal sounding album, I don't know if this would be a standout.
Right.
I mean, it is kind of building. It does sound bigger now than it did even the first chorus. See, I'm getting like, I feel like Scott was trying to do a Radiohead's Kid A before Kid A even came out.
What? Okay. Now I have to hear Kid A.
See, the production here is hurting the song a little bit in the sense that the bass was playing something cool, but it's so mixed in the background, I feel like. Almost the electric guitars are too much, too loud. Although I do like the one that's just playing that one, like, bended note. Yeah. Okay, I like the dynamics here, taking out the rest of the instrumentation.
So, what you think? I'm sure you're dying to know where the man is.
Well, I mean, I will say that lyrically, not a lot of lyrics. Like, he does basically just repeat the verse and chorus again. I like that it's the most normal sounding song, production-wise. But like I said earlier, I feel like on another album, this would not be a standout. So I'm kind of don't want to call it a standout because I feel like I only liked it as much as I did because it was more like, okay, here's a guitar song. It's pretty simple and like verse and chorus. I mean, it did have that kind of fake intro. Then it had kind of the outro where they take out the instruments, which I did like because of the dynamics. And I overall liked definitely a better vocal performance than the last couple for my personal taste. But yeah, like it wasn't the most like super interesting song, if I had to be honest. I feel like this is a song he would have taken to the band and maybe it would have been cut from the album because I mean, like, so far there's nothing on any of these songs that screams STP. Like, there's no insane bass line or catchy guitar riff and definitely no STP signature chords, you know?
Yeah. Song number 5, almost halfway through the album. Divider.
I can't even be mad at this because, like, the Gord album is going to be the same way, just, like, differently. But, I mean, it sounds like the music in one of the levels of Luigi's Haunted Mansion. This part's a little better with the vocals. See, I don't like the vocals on the left side.
The harmony.
Yeah, I don't. But I like the right side a lot. Okay, that one like little drum fill sounded a little much like garbage can sounding. So is this the chorus?
Yes.
Because the first time through, I thought this was a pre-chorus.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could see that.
But it sounds more like a chorus this time for some reason. Yeah, the vocals here sound like, and so I know, like, with the very smooth and clean sounding.
Yeah, these sound very Scott to me. Bro, I thought you would have liked this song more. I'm actually a little surprised.
So, I'll say this, because you said that you thought I'd like the song more, and I probably would if this song was performed by STP. And what I mean by that is, like, I feel like some of the playing just was not as strong as maybe the songwriting itself. The songwriting was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, some of the lyrics were a little weird, like the libido line, but, like, I liked his vocals a lot. I liked the melodies. I'm not always the biggest fan of a lounge song, depending on what type of album it's on. Now, because this album is so all over the place, it's okay. Like, it doesn't sound out of place, because everything sounds out of place. But there was just, again, some choices I did. I hated the way the drums sound. Like, I actually disliked the way the drums sound. What it was playing was cool at the end, where we're doing, like, that was cool, but it sounded like Saint Anger style drums. Like, I just did not like it. I will say, like, if comparing it to other songs on the album, I definitely liked it more than the opening track. I liked it more than the third track. I'm only saying the track not by their names because I don't have the track list in front of me because I don't want to change the page. But
Desperation number 5. And,
yeah. So I like it more than some of the other tracks for sure.
I'll take it.
I feel like that one had more potential than the final version.
Strap yourself in, buddy. Keep all hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
What's this one called?
Cool Kiss.
This reminds me of something like Garbage.
Like the band?
Yeah, the band. Is this even him singing?
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time believing that's his voice. It just, the tone
It sounds like him to me.
See, I don't know. This part does. This absolutely sounds like him. I don't love it, but it sounds like him. Okay, best part of the song so far. I'm already telling you right now, this song is too long than it needs to be.
Visibly confused.
I was like, yeah, this part is actually very pretty, but...
This part's very pretty.
But then it made the other part actually seem not that pretty because this part is actually the pretty part. Yeah, I don't know. It reminds me of...
I totally get why you hate it, though. I mean,
yeah,
I totally get it.
It reminds me of like a movie in the late 90s where it's like a kind of gritty cop movie. And it's a scene where they have to like find a witness for like a shooting. And the witness is like a bartender at a dirty club. And they go in the club. And it's kind of like a rave scene, and it's like flashing lights and people dancing on the dance floor. And they didn't have enough,
like, everybody get down. They start shooting in the club.
They didn't have enough money to pay for a Nine Inch Nails song.
Bruh.
So they're like, they asked someone like the music director, like, bro, can you cook us up a similar sounding song? And this was.
You can't even say that though. You've never even heard a Nine Inch Nails record.
No, but I have heard enough like clips of songs.
I mean, I think it's probably safe we move on to the next song.
What's this one called? The Dave?
The Date. The Dave? Holy fuck.
Why does it sound like
thing in front of the house
dying?
that's broken, dude?
No, it sounds like someone dying in a hospital, like their heart flatlines.
It sounds like you gotta change the batteries in the smoke detector.
I realize I have to react.
Bro was trying to dissociate through the whole thing.
Definitely.
He's like, please God, take my consciousness away from me. Okay, I feel like at this point, I need to walk you through this. I'll do the reacting, and then you can react to the reacting.
And all of this, like, eerie, like, dark, weird music is about someone breaking up with someone else?
Well, I mean, even though, yeah, there's, like, probably, what, like, 20 words in this song. I mean, I would say it's more of a maniacal thing again. Like, he's in denial of it. That seems to be the message of the song to me. I always thought the bass notes are really weird here.
The whole thing is very... Nothing fits with it. It's like one another. I think I'd prefer to listen to Paint Dry. You're not an angsty teenager anymore. You cannot tell me you like this. Like, actually. It has a very, like, heavy, probably drop D outro, and it's really sludgy and long. And there's points where he's like, you can hear him screaming in the background. That's what this reminds me of. Like, it's like someone's like the bottom of their despair.
Right.
Which, like, does have a time and place, but...
I mean, this is more of a statement and a piece more than a song to me. Now, this next song, Sun, he actually
There's nowhere we're not going to talk about this song anymore.
Well, we don't need to, goddammit! The next song is Sun, which he did.
Panning is really weird so far. Oh, that thing's already killing the song for me.
That's a vibra slap, right? Is that what they call them?
I do like the piano chords. And the washboard thing went away. Like, the electric guitar in the chorus and the subject matter of the song is going to be very similar to when we get to Coke Machine Glow for the song Trick Rider. My only problem is I'm comparing this to Song for Sleeping, which I feel like is a better version of the song. Even though I don't love this part, I understand why it's here, and I'm okay with it.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
So I liked Sun.
Nice. We got another like. That's like 2.5.
We got another like. I mean, like this one, Barbarella,
Divider
are like
Latiny,
the three that I like the most. But they're, as you can tell, they're the more ballads, the more softer, and the less abrasive songs. Now the Sun had a section that was a little bit more abrasive than the rest of the song, but it felt the purpose was like we're purposely trying to contrast, and I understood it and its context in the song, even if I didn't love this section as much as the rest. There were still some things I didn't love about it. That electric guitar part in the chorus, I kind of liked it first, and then I was finding it a little too repetitive. Thankfully, it changed during the last chorus. I mostly liked the vocals, not so much in the bridge sections, but I liked it in the chorus and the verse. And of course, I'm gonna like the subject matter. I mean, I'm never, even if it's like
you can't really shit on a guy for liking his kid.
Even if it's like a Pearl Jam song, Eddie Vedder song, where he's singing about his daughters and stuff. Even though I find the song to be a little, corny, it's like, if I ever have kids one day, I'm gonna be writing the same type of songs too. So, no hate there. But I do like, this didn't feel corny to me, which is why I liked it. It didn't feel corny.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. Yeah, it doesn't feel corny, even though it is a very delicate, tender song. Next song?
Which
I believe is Jimmy Was a Stimulator. So it starts off like Cool Kiss.
It's gonna be like one of those other songs.
Oh, come on, this part goes hard.
This also just feels like, how many words can we rhyme with stimulator?
Yeah, so The Date's the worst song. This is the worst song lyrically.
That's keyboard part in the background is really interesting.
Yeah.
Reminds me of something. You think I can enjoy
better.
this song?
This part's better.
No, I'm sorry. This was already done Barbara and Barbarella. Don't even. I mean, this is just, it feels like this is one of those albums where it's like, it's cool because of how different it is. And there's sections of songs that are cool. Like, I will say the chorus of the song, that keyboard part in the background was kind of cool. It had a different texture than the rest of the album. It reminded me of something besides like a car thing. I don't know. It reminds me of like another song that I can't think of right now. It was cool. Everything else about the song I didn't really like. Like, didn't like the lyrics, which you even said you didn't like.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna defend that, bro.
I mean, in the verse, I will say the melody of the vocals was a little catchy in a weird way. But
it is catchy.
I didn't like I didn't really like some of the production. I didn't like that part. That sounded like something you'd hear like in an NSYNC song. Like,
Now,
remember this
I don't listen to NSYNC like that, so I wouldn't know. But
Dirty Pop? Listen to it. That's what it reminds me of.
Lady, Your Roof Brings Me Down.
Giving me Tom Waits vibes. Definition of throwing everything at the wall to see what'll stick.
Now, this is tasteful accordion.
This should be in the new Joker movie. It's giving me Halloween vibes for some reason. This sounds like a Tom Waits song to me. I totally see why you like this song.
I think this is actually, I think objectively, this is the best done song. Because it does like the Divider thing where it's like this more very particular sound. But it worked, the counterpoint is so much better and like defined.
I do like the parts here with the strings because it does sound like a TV show or movie soundtrack to me. Cabaret, that's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I will say this is a song, another one where I appreciate it more than I like it.
God damn it. Okay.
Like, besides like actually Halloween time, I just don't ever see me picking this song out of the album to listen to on its own. But it felt like it would fit so well in like a movie or TV show. I will say it was a cool sounding song.
It's entertaining.
And I will say I like it. It's like, I don't think of it as like as much of an impactful song as Sun or Barbarella. So I would maybe put this under those two and probably under Divider. So I liked it. It's like, so far it's my...
Under Divider?
Yes.
Really?
Just barely. Because Divider, I feel like I could listen and appreciate outside of the album, where this one, again, I only would if it was the Halloween time to watch Addams Family.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. What was I gonna say? So maybe when bro says pass the ox, this is not what they're gonna put on. But it should slap. Next song, Mockingbird Girl. Now,
I like the other sound more.
That's an SCP change.
Yeah, but don't you think these guitar tones are a little... Like they could have
They're a little cringe.
You can actually hear bass on this song.
Hey, they faked you out. It's the adhesive structure. The second verse is twice as long.
I don't know. That noise in the background sounds like a video game soundtrack. I really like the verse, and I really don't like the chorus of the song.
The chorus melody slaps, though.
But I can't get over the guitars. They sound like butt.
You started drowning them. You started tuning them out, you know.
And his vocals are a little bit on doing that Scott thing that I don't love as much. So, like, that was another song that had potential.
It had stuff you liked enough, but also had stuff you didn't like.
Yeah, like when that intro hit, I was like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. And then they immediately went to, like, the butt rock. But then the verses are more like the intro, which is cool. And it's a little bit more spacey, a little bit more melodic, which you don't have a lot of on this album, unfortunately. But then the chorus, even though I get what you're saying, the vocal melody is catchy and the progression's catchy. Could not stand the guitar tones.
You know, hear me out. Hear me out. I feel like this album is almost better in your head than actually listening to it. Like, because it's so catchy, and like when you hear a song in your head, it's a lot softer, right? So you think about the song and some of the abrasive elements, and you think about how they work more rhythmically or tonally, but like, I don't know. I feel like for me with this album, like I heard it a few times, and I'm like, just like that shit stuck in my head, man.
I mean, I agree that in my head it'll sound better because I'll edit out the things I didn't enjoy from it.
I mean, that's okay. Hey.
I do feel like this is one of those albums where you probably liked it because it just hit you at a good age in your life.
I am a big believer in that. I think a reason why we like albums is because our own personal connection, whether it's the weather when we listen to it, whether it was, I don't know, whatever. You're angsty in high school, yeah.
I feel like my age, though, has passed for this album. For me to enjoy it as much as you.
On a like being introduced to it at this point of your life, yeah. I mean, yeah, literally, I probably did play you Adhesive back in fucking When I was in high school, and you're like, yeah, I don't like this shit. You're like, this shit
Yeah, but
sucks.
that's a song that you could be any age and appreciate. I feel like this album you can't be any age. For some of the songs, yes, like Sun, probably
I mean, if
Barbarella.
you were 40 or 50 and into the industrial scene, you probably fuck with it.
Well,
We'll see though. We'll see. All right. Well, one more song to drive this home. It's got maybe the weirdest title. Well, Jimmy was a stimulator is pretty weird. That's the title. But opposite octave reaction.
don't pretend that guitar riff makes the song salvageable.
Bro's got some problems.
Yeah, I'm like, actually wish this was one of the songs that the lyrics weren't on the screen for.
You wish the song was about sinful flies.
I really hope you don't defend this song.
What?
I will say, the more I listen to this album, the more opposite it is to the Gord album. Yet they're still similar in ways. It's so weird to describe. It's because they're so different from the bands they're from. Because I could not imagine SCP doing a song like this. I think that I hated most of that song. The only part I
Really?
somewhat liked was him singing opposite octave reaction. Because it's one of those words that, it's one of those phrases that does not roll off the tongue easily, but then once you get it right, it sounds cool. And I do think the progression and the melody of that section was decent. But man, I really hated the verses.
You
I really
hated the verses?
I really hated the lyrics. Did not like the singing. The guitar tones again were getting kind of that tone from the mocking
got it?
girl song. Mocking.
Nice.
That was
Wait, no, that's not
that's the Hunger Games
Mockingbird
movie.
Girl. Yeah, he's like, you're like
Like
Mockingbird.
you got it, nice.
I was like, he'll figure it out. He's fine. And I was like, oh shit, no, he's not fine.
Is this song kind of indicative of the album? Yes. Where it's like there are some gems of elements throughout the songs. But man, you have to sit through a lot of not so great music to get to them. To me, well, I'll say that for when we talk about the end of the album. But this song, it's a fitting closing song for this album. But I can't expect for you to expect for me to like this song.
So the question. Where do you rank this song? Is this bottom? Don't tell me this is worse than The Date.
No, The Date's still the worst. This is like bottom 3 though.
Bottom 3. So what? Like The Date, Cool Kiss.
And this, yeah.
Okay. That's a little outrageous. This is bottom 3. Because this song's it got a much stronger melody. It's catchy. The riffs are simple, but they're whatever. You know, like they're rocking at least. The mix is a lot better on this song than some of the other tracks. And yeah, lyrically it's a little bit uncomfortable, but the whole album is uncomfortable. So on a scale of 5 to -5, where does this album rank with you? I have a feeling it's going to be in the negatives, but I'll give the benefit of the doubt. What would you say?
I mean, this has to be an album where, just like I believe there's probably a Gorsel album. I don't know which one hell, it might even be the one you're going to listen to next. But I feel like I'd be shocked if someone liked this album that wasn't a huge STP fan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're basically like, if a pedestrian heard this, they would all be like, this is hot garbage.
Not that, like, if they heard this and liked it and then listen to STP and hated STP, I would be shocked. But I feel like me, someone who is becoming an STP fan that does not like this album that much, I don't think that's weird. But I think it'd be weird to be the opposite, to love this album and not like anything about STP.
Okay, well, yeah, because let's be real. I mean,
It's
Scott
like
is the main attraction here.
It's like liking Talk Show, but then not liking STP. That's kind of weird too. I get that you don't have Scott on that album, but the music is so much like STP for the most part.
Yeah.
Which is why I like Talk Show so much. Scott was not able to save this album for me. And that's how you can feel about the Gord album. You might hear it and go, I love Gord in the hip, but he does not save this album for me. Now, I don't want you to try to force that on it because that's what ended up happening to me with this album. But, like, again, I can see why you like most of the songs and the album as a whole. But I would be shocked if you, let's say somehow you loved STP growing up, but didn't know this album existed for some weird reason. And then you
Mhm.
heard this like literally today for the first time. I would be shocked if you liked it as much as you do now. I don't expect you to dislike it as much as me, but I'd be shocked if you liked it as much as you like it right now. So I feel like the nostalgia has to play a little role in you liking it so much.
Yes, yes, of
Which you
course.
already admitted.
Which is, yeah, I mean, I heard the album at a time in my life where it was really impactful. So, for example, Darkness on the Edge of Town, was a record I heard at the perfect time of my life where it was very impactful.
Which was
Granted, I
maybe,
still would have liked it outside of that time. I imagine,
and
but
you probably were the same age when I first heard it for the first time.
okay, yeah, young adult,
Yeah.
well, adult for sure, but um, yeah, and so for me with this record, now I don't know a lot of industrial music. Like I've been listening to Nine Inch Nails, which has been really cool, and just kind of a couple other things. But so I'm not sure how this really ranks, and so I don't want to compare it to Nine Inch Nails because Nine Inch Nails is like another level. Like, they're so unique with their sound. Trent's amazing, um, and so I don't want to compare it to Nine Inch Nails, but I will say in the same way where I think Downward Spiral is an amazing record, that's the type of record that is uncomfortable to listen to with the subject matter, with how abrasive the songs are. Some of the songs aren't even really like, okay, verse, chorus, got it. Where this was more of a um like Scart's artsy pop record done over industrial production. That's kind of how I think about this. Like if you think about the vocal melodies, they're just kind of pop, easy to do things. If you look at the chord progressions, they're simple. Like you said, they're very simple, like distorted riffs for the most part. But keep in mind though, the hip, for example, have a lot of simple riffs and progressions. So I'm not saying that as a
I
slander.
and I wouldn't even say this album is that. I mean, like, yeah, on like any song you can simplify to the root notes, right?
Right, but what I mean, I guess, is that like when I'm listening to it, I'm not hearing, like you said, the STP chord extensions.
No, but I am hearing a lot of interesting stuff going on in the background. That isn't even just production. Like someone playing a piano bit in the background is not production. That is instrumentation. That's musicianship. And there's a lot of that on this album.
Right,
It's
right.
just some of it works for me and some of it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to imagine hearing this album right now for the first time. Um, I just actually can't imagine that. But part of why I did want to show you this is because first off, it's nuts. It's kind of nuts. Secondly, too, I think
You
it
downplayed how
shows.
nuts it was.
Did I really?
Yes.
You think I down? So was it more unhinged than expected?
Yeah, I was just expecting like really sparse instrumentation. I don't know why I kept thinking that.
No, no. That's why when you're like, I don't know if I should give you the gourd. It might be too. You might not like it. I'm like, fuck you, bro. Check this out.
Jeez.
But
That's the other
but
soundbite from this episode.
I was like, part of why I want to show you this, yeah, is because it's nuts. But it shows you more of Scott. When I do give you his second album, it's quite different from this, as I'm sure you can imagine. He doesn't really return to this sound. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those records where I'm just like, someone else has to hear this other than me.
Yeah, I am actually, now that I've heard the album, I would be curious to see I mean, a lot of people, when this album was reissued last year for Record Store Day, you were
They
not the
wanted
only
it, yeah.
you weren't the only one that was like eager to get it. A lot of people were. So there's a lot of fans of this album. I'm just kind of I'm curious to hear other people say. I mean, like,
They're all diehard Scott fans. That's me too. I fucking love Scott's
and
work. So
that's kind of how I am with Gore, which is why we paired these albums together. Because like,
yes.
looking at the track list, it's like there's a lot here I do not like. I did not like The Date. I did not like Cool Kiss. I did not like Opposite Octave Reaction.
You didn't like About
Um,
Nothing.
But I feel like now that I've heard some of those other songs, I feel like a song like About Nothing could grow a little bit. I actually think Desperation Number 5 grew on me throughout the album
That's what
from
I'm
hearing
saying.
the other songs.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying.
But like to me, there's clear standouts. Barbarella's the standout. I actually would put Where's the Man as the standout. Divider's the standout. And then Sun's the standout. And then actually, again, now that I'm hearing the rest of the album, I do think I will appreciate Lady Your Roof Brings Me Down more. Because again, it was a hard time for me to listen to the song without thinking of it as super theatrical.
And you've never heard a record like this, have you?
Well, again, I thought the Gourd was going to be the closest that I've heard an album like this, but this one is definitely more bonkers than the Gourd. Gourd is bonkers just in another way.
Right, right.
Like, this is just a different extreme to me than the Gourd. The Gourd's one extreme. Gourd is like eating spaghetti meatballs cold, where this is like putting mustard on a Pop-Tart extreme. They're completely extreme for different reasons.
Right.
And again, I can see why you and other people would like this because it's so like I'm sure there's and I have albums like this too, not as extreme, but like for me, listening to a heavy metal album is extreme for me because I don't listen to much heavy metal.
Yeah, yeah.
And this could be your extreme where it's like, and you definitely listen to more music, I think, in this vein than I do. Like you're getting into punk, you're getting into bands like Sonic Youth, where it's like kind of noise rock avant-garde, and even some of the bands you listen to. Some of the bands you listen to already do that. Like I feel like some Melvin songs are kind of like that too sometimes. So I mean, I appreciated the experience because this was definitely the most roller coaster reaction we've had so far, and there's no way we could have done this episode in the non-reaction format.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I couldn't give it to you. There's no way you would listen to it 3 times.
I would have been texting you the whole 2 weeks. I'd be listening to the album and I'd be going like, bro, bruh, and like dot dot dot. And then
no. You'd be like a week in after I gave you the album. You're like, dude, I can't get past song 3.
Yeah, and then the whole episode would be me shitting on it. Which is it that much different than this episode? No, but like this episode, like. You kind of walked me through some of the songs and you kind of reassured me that like, yeah, you're not crazy for thinking the guitar tones are ass on this song or whatever, like.
No, I'll say this. Out of this album, I think Barbarella, Lady, and Sun are all like actually really great songs. Like to me, they might as well be like 9 or 10 out of 10s. Are they perfect? Actually, no. But the experience for me hearing them, the quality of the songwriting, they're fantastic songs. I will defend those songs. And then I had the guilty pleasures. I really like Desperation Number 5. It just kind of hit something in me that I'm not wasn't used to. And I like that. I like how crazy Cool Kiss is. But then, I like Opposite Octave. But it's far from a perfect record. And I don't think half of the songs are standout.
Did your vinyl copy come with like the bonus song, or was it just the plain album?
Yes, it came with the bonus. And
were any of the bonus stuff actually good?
So the acoustic version of Barbarella is kind of interesting because it's just the vocal track from the studio version and maybe even the studio track of the acoustic.
That's exactly like how the Bob Cajun version is on the...
Which is kind of like... It's kind of nice to hear the vocals clear, but it's also just kind of like, eh. Then there was Lazy Divey, which kind of sounds like Hey Jude, unfortunately. With the more Nez. And then Chateau Mars, I don't know what that is. Hopefully it's not a cover that I don't know.
But
it wasn't memorable.
But I was gonna say you've listened to it once at least.
No, yeah, Lazy Diver is better than Chateau Mars if I recall. So.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be am I a little happy that we're not doing the episode where I have to listen to this at least 3 times in a row? Yes. Will I ever return to this album or songs from it? I think at least songs from it.
You'll return to Barbarella.
And I think I will return to like, Divider to like see like what was about the song that I actually enjoyed, or like Sun, So, but yeah, this is definitely going. I think artistically it might be way more interesting to me than like a Fever You Can't Sweat Out or the Softies album, but it's going to be played up about maybe the same amount of times as those albums for me moving forward.
I was thinking about it when we were listening to About Nothing. I think that song's the closest to Nails for Breakfast, X for Snacks.
Okay, well, I did say the album did give me vibes of Fever.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sitting through that.
Yeah, and now it's going to be your turn to sit through the Chord album. And I actually encourage you to make cracks about it like I did. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want you to go into it going like I'm going to be the bigger person and I'm actually going to say, "Oh, there's a lot here that is very interesting." Like I want you to I
yeah,
want you I mean, if you truly enjoy it, don't shit on it for the sake of shitting on it, but I I will just like with this album. I will expect you to like some things and then maybe even hate some things because there's definitely some. It's going to be the opposite. I think a reaction, but a similar reaction. You'll see. I'm trying not to spoil it. Drop
yeah.
us a comment. Let us know what you think of this album. And until next time, you'll be hearing from us soon. Bye bye.